There are two sides to every story. There's the story you know and the story others know or another person knows. And I was thinking this morning about the subject and about there's always two sides to every story, and the thought keeps coming back, make a video of it. So I'm going to kind of just trust my instincts here, and hopefully I come up with the right stuff to help somebody. You have one side that's been told to someone, and it may or may not be the truth, but you'll never know the true meaning of what's going on in your life or what the story is about someone else or someone else's version of events until you get this side of the story and not through someone else. There are many, many people who can tell you they know the other person's side of the story, but they don't. The only person who knows the other person's story is them. Just like the only person who knows your story is you. And you see it from viewing it from your own eyes. They see it from viewing it from their eyes, not from viewing it from other people's eyes. There was that incident in Thames. I was with my wife at the time, and Rachel, who was notoriously, she would have been probably just three-ish, somewhere around there. She was very, very naughty, and and Rachel ordered a hamburger, and they put everything in it, which was it was a kid, they shouldn't be doing that, but they did. And when Rachel held the hamburger up to her mouth, she was squeezing it, and I could see all the food about to come out and pour all over the restaurant table. So I quickly said, "No, wait!" Like this, and I yelled at her. And the wife looked at me and glared at me, and then I looked around the restaurant, and everyone was glaring at me for yelling at her. And I was thinking, oh, quick judgment. And then I put my hand up to say stop, and then Rachel just looked at me and grinned, and then bit into it, and all the food splurted out of the table, and I was like, and all these people were glaring at me. And then when she did it, they were looking at, oh, the poor little thing. She's probably so nervous she spilled all her food on the table. No one asked me what happened, and no one knew what Rachel was normally like as a little child. She's the one who I took into the after my ex-wife, my wife left, into the jewelers in town, and they had a whole lot of clocks on the wall. I always remember this, um, expensive ones, and Rachel ran along and hit each clock as she ran on the wall, and they were all swinging like about to drop off. And I was on welfare, and I was like, no. And she'd do things like that. Really, you couldn't, when you took Rachel into a store, you couldn't let her touch anything that was valuable or could be broken, because Rachel would broke it. And again, another example of what she was like was I went into a store and I saw Rachel, and she was with her mother and her sister, and Rachel hadn't seen me, and she ran up behind a man who was bending down to pick something up, and she grabbed a part of his hairs on his legs and she pulled. And the man jumped and he yelled and he said, "Go on, you little brat!" And Rachel ran off laughing like crazy because she knew she wasn't going to get out hiding. So she was very, very naughty. But that's not the point. The point is there was two sides to the story. Of the Thames incident, no one heard my story. And when I walked out the door, I was getting looks of hate from all the patrons, and especially the woman. I was this horrible, evil man yelling at the sweet little darling. And you get two sides. Those people never ever heard my story, my side, and they probably told everyone when they went home and spread it out to everyone all the horrible thing that I yelled at my poor little darling in the restaurant. And life's kind of a lot like that. I had an ex-girlfriend who would run around the house smashing things, and then when I left the house, the neighbours said she was laughing about this when she told me this, like about 4 months later. She said the neighbours live right next door. They said invited her over for dinner, and they said to her at the dinner table, "We know he was hitting you." And she says, oh. And she said, yes, from all the yelling and the banging, we realized he was beating you and hitting you. And I looked at her and I said, so what did you tell them? And she said, oh, I just didn't believe what they wanted to believe because, you know, and there were 4 or 5 young men there. So, um, getting both, it seems like we all go through a lot of our life early getting to express outside of our story to people who want to listen. And it's a sad thing because you could actually help people if they heard your side of the story. And you could, you know, so there's that as well. But another thing I wanted to mention in mentioning different sides of the story was about fear. If people can teach a person fear or to fear, say there's 2 lots of people. One lot teaches a person in that group to fear the person in the other group, but in doing or to fear the other group, and in doing so, they're lying to this person about the other group. Because this person is scared of the other group, this person won't go to the other group and say, what happened? What's your side of the story? What's your version of events? What do you believe happened? Fear is used to control the person so they stay with the people that are lying to that person. And that's what I've noticed over this character assassination thing. This is how they control the members, the flying monkeys. You've got the flying monkeys. They've told the flying monkeys a whole lot of lies about me that are based on fear, saying that I do all sorts of horrible things. Probably faked photos and videos and heaven knows what. And in faking that and creating the fear, no one goes and asks the other person, or what do you have to say?